Alright, hello 6th grade. So we are going to start to try and do some of the geometry. That's part of our next lesson. We're going to kind of skip the inequalities. We're going to get to that hopefully at the end, and if we don't get to it, that's okay. We've done most of it. I would like to start with the geometry part though, because it's an easier topic to kind of understand on your own. The goal of this is that you have watched the 2 videos beforehand. They are 2 YouTube videos. They are not that long. That way you have the basic background knowledge, and then you're going to watch this video and you're going to complete the problems with me. So this is like in class when we're doing like, you already know the background knowledge. We're starting with some of the questions. I'm going to have you write them out on your own paper. This is not from the book. If you have your book, it does not go along with that. I have created this on my own. So you'll just need scrap paper. You don't have to write all of this. Just when we do a problem, I'll show you on the first one exactly what I want you to write. This does get blurry a couple times. That's completely fine. If you also could check on your Google Classroom, you should see that I have posted a PDF that looks something like this. It has your formulas. We're going to be dealing with triangle, parallelogram, and trapezoids mainly. We're going to get to circles and all that to come after. We're going to start with these 3 today. After we do this whole video, I want you guys to do the 4 practice problems at the bottom, and you'll bring this to our Zoom meeting on Wednesday when we come. This should not take you too long. You are able to use a calculator if you want to. You should not need to, but you have that option if you would like. If you don't have a calculator at home and you have a phone works just as well for all of that. So this is something to have somewhere to refer to. If you have a printer at home and you want to print this off, that's great. If you don't, I would suggest on a scrap piece of paper writing these 3 formulas down. This will help you in everything that we're going to do in this short video I'm going to show you guys right now, and on the practice problems, and then we're going to use it on our Zoom meeting too. If you don't have a printer, completely fine. On the practice problems, all you need to do is you need to do a rough sketch of the drawings. This took me about a minute and a half to draw these 3. If you don't want to draw them, you don't even have to, but you're going to have to show your work and be able to refer to what it is. Okay, so like what is the height in this triangle? What is the base? So you'll have to know what that is. My suggestion is draw it real quick. Rough sketch. These are rough sketches. Didn't use a ruler, didn't make it anything like that. I'm doing this to show you and make sure that you are able to quickly write it on your own, but if you want to print it, that's fine too. Okay? So we're going to get started. The 3 goals of this quick video, hopefully it's pretty quick, are to find the area of a triangle, find the area of a parallelogram and understand what a parallelogram is, and then find the area of a trapezoid and understand what a trapezoid is. These first 2 goals are probably a little familiar to you from last year, hopefully. If not, that's okay. We'll kind of cover where we're all at when the time comes. When I do go over these, if you are stuck and you need to write something, just pause the video, okay? Or if I say, okay, solve this, pause the video, pause it and actually solve it. Don't just keep watching the whole thing. That's not going to help you. If you have questions as we go, kind of make note where your question is so that when we meet on Zoom, you can ask me or send me an email. I'm more than happy to answer your question through an email as well. So we're going to get started with triangles. So if you have a note sheet, you want to write this all out. Triangles. Okay? For your area of a triangle, your formula is, area is usually shown by a capital A, and if you're dealing with a triangle, they usually put a triangle in the bottom corner. You don't have to do that, it's up to you. Area of a triangle is you take your base, you multiply it by your height, and then you divide it by 2, because 2 triangles, as you saw in the video, will make a parallelogram, which we're going to get to, which is a square, a rectangle, any shape that has 2 sides that are parallel. Okay? So we're going to do 2 quick practice problems with the triangles to make sure we all understand it. This formula, all you're doing is plugging information in. It works for any triangle, whether it's equilateral, whether it's right, whether it's isosceles, anything. It will work for a triangle because of how triangles are formed. Alright, for a triangle, let's do the first practice problem. We'll make a triangle. Triangle has 3 sides. That's a little blurry. Alright. Let's say our base is 7 inches and our height is 6 inches. See that? Okay. So if we plug this in, your base is 7, your height is 6, and you're going to divide it by 2. So take a second, pause the video, because I'm going to keep going in this so I don't have this huge lag time. Please pause the video, and solve it. Remember, whenever you're dealing with any of this, we always have a label. Okay, so try and get your label. Alright, so hopefully you have solved it. If you haven't, pause it real quick, solve it, because I'm about to solve it on here. When you plug it in, your base is 7. So, area equals 7 times your height of 6, because that's your height here, and then you would divide it by 2. Notice I don't have labels in the problem. You can put them. It's okay. You don't have to until your final answer. When you solve this, we're doing it in the sequence here. We're going to show our work. 7 times 6 we would do first. 7 times 6 you would get 42. 42 over 2, that's a fraction. It also means divide. And 42 divided by 2, you should have gotten 21. Now, it is area. Area has 2 dimensions, base, height. That means you are going to write your label, which is inches, and it'll be to the 2nd power. Okay? Let's try one more. Let's see. This length we'll say is 10. We'll say this length up here is 4. Go ahead and find your area of this triangle. So go ahead, pause the video if you need a second to write it, pause it, and then actually go solve it. So hopefully you have just solved it. When you plug it in, area equals base times height divided by 2. I always start with rewriting the formula because that is what you follow. Then all you do is plug in. Oops, that's not right. Area equals your base is 10 times your height, which is 4. And you would divide by 2. When you start simplifying, area you would get 10 times 4 is 40 divided by 2. And your final answer would be 20. Notice there is no label here. If there is never a label, which there typically will not be labels, you write units or UN, either one you want, and it's squared. It's area you need to have a label. So some of them you won't see labels on the picture. Always put units, UN for abbreviated, squared. Okay? So if we go back to our second goal, it's a parallelogram. We're going to do one example because they are very easy. They are just like rectangles. They are just like squares. You guys started area of squares and rectangles probably in 3rd grade. If not 4th and 5th grade, you would have done it. So let's do our parallelograms. The main thing with parallelograms, it is no different than the area of a square or a rectangle. Oops. Let's get this clear. Alright, your area formula. Put a square down there because that's a typical parallelogram you might see. You take your base and you multiply by your height. If you notice, it's the same as a triangle, except now you're not dividing by 2. Okay, this works for squares, rectangles, parallelograms, anything you see. A typical parallelogram is what when they're referring to a parallelogram instead of writing it as a square or rectangle, is 2 parallel sides. Those are parallel, they will never cross. With 2 other parallel sides. Those 2 are also parallel. They will never cross. Now, you are not going to measure this length. You are finding the height. Height is not a length here. Height would be how tall is this shape. It will typically be shown on the side. So let's say this is 4 meters. 4 meters high. And then this length would be, see that? Let's do 5 meters. Now, if this length is 5 meters, so is this length. If this height over here is 4, so is this height, because it is a parallelogram. So when you go ahead and plug that in, your area of your parallelogram is your base times your height. Go ahead and pause this video and find the area of the parallelogram. Do not forget your label, please. Alright, hopefully you have just found the area of a parallelogram. This one should be an easy one. Oops. Your base is 5. Your height is 4. Your area would be 20 meters square. It is still 2 dimensions. You have a base, you have a height. It is 2-dimensional. It is flat. It is not 3D. That is when you would start getting a 3 up there, and that would be volume. Okay? We're going to go to our last one, which might take a little bit longer, but hopefully it will not. It is trapezoids. Okay, trapezoids are not parallelograms. Trapezoids have one set of parallel sides. Okay, so I'm going to move this up. Now, trapezoids are the ones that take the most amount of work. It still takes me a second when I look at them to realize how do I find the area. You have to refer back to the formula. If you think about the formula, area of a trapezoid, the formula is you take your height, you multiply this. Sometimes you don't see the multiplication sign, but we know when there's parentheses, that means you multiply. You take your first base, which we call base 1. You add it to your second base, which we call base 2. And then in the video it showed you that it is just like a triangle. So if it's like a triangle, we would have to then divide it by 2. We're going to do one fully together, where I'm going to give you the answer after you pause it, and then I'm going to give you one more that you are going to do completely on your own, and you're going to bring with you to our Zoom meeting on Tuesday. So why I'm not solving the last one is because I want to make sure that we're actually practicing it, okay? So trapezoids have one set of parallel sides. It's typically shown on the top. I will show in the next one. That is not very good drawing of a trapezoid, but that's okay. That they don't always have to be in this setting. They can be turned, they can be rotated, they can be any of that. You're still doing the same thing. When you're talking about bases, the bases are the two sets of parallel sides. So if you look at these sides, these will eventually cross. Those are not parallel. My parallels would be the top and the bottom, because if I extend them, they will never cross. When you're given a trapezoid, you're going to have more numbers than you're used to. You are going to have a height. Let's say our height is 3 inches. You're going to have a length for the top and the bottom base. Let's say our bottom base is 6 inches and our top is 2 inches. Okay? If I would plug this into the formula, I'm going to do it below here, your area of your trapezoid, you're going to see it as h parentheses b1 plus b2 over 2. The 1 and the 2 are below. They're not exponents. Okay? They're not doing the same thing. Exponents will be above. It's just showing that's the first base, that's the second base. It doesn't matter which one you put, because we know addition can go in any order from the properties we have learned. So take a second, pause this, and try it. Okay, hopefully you have gotten an answer and you did not forget a label. If you got stuck anywhere, we're going to go through this one real quick. The height would be how high is the shape. It would be 3. Base 1, doesn't matter if you have 2 or 6 first, as long as you have both of them in there somewhere. I'm going to use the longer one, so I'm going to put 6. My base 2, I'm going to use my other one, which is 2. If you have 2 first, it's still going to work. And then you're going to divide it by 2. We use order of operations to solve this. Order of operations tells you to find and go to the parentheses first. So 3, in your parentheses, 6 plus 2, you would get 8, and then you would divide by 2. If I'm still following order of operations, multiplication, division are at the same time, so whatever comes first, left to right. If this was written out left to right, I would start at the top and work my way down. So 3 times 8, you would get 24, and then you would divide by 2, and your final answer would be 12 inches square. Okay, sometimes with area we circle the answer if you have a lot of work, so you can see clearly where your answer is. Okay? We're going to try one more. I'm going to show you that trapezoids can be drawn in different ways. There is still one set of parallel lines. Now they're going vertically instead of horizontally. It will still work the same. Your height, though, will just look a little different, okay? Because your height is going to be this distance across instead of something up and down. Let's say our height is 5 meters. This first base, let's say it's 11 meters, and this top base, let's say it is 4 meters. I want you to, with the formula, area of a trapezoid equals height times base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2, because when you take the two bases, it's as if it's a triangle. It is created. Okay? So please solve this one with a label and bring this to your Zoom meeting. You're also going to solve these 4 problems on the PDF that I have uploaded. Okay, you don't have to print them, you can write them out. I would save all your notes and stuff we have done. Hopefully it would took up no more than a sheet or 2. If you use front and back, that's completely fine. If you have questions, you may rewatch this video as much as you need. You may rewatch the other videos I posted. If you need other videos to help you, I can send some your way if you would like. Or if you would like some one-on-one help, I am more than happy to help you. Okay? So I hope that this format is not too much for you all. It's easy for you to kind of follow. I would encourage you to come with feedback so that I can fix it, what works best for you all, since this is to help you guys the best, and this is very new to me. So, if you enjoyed this type of video more than the other videos, so you can actually solve some work and you're more guided, let me know. If you don't and you want other things, we can see if that works as well. Alright, so bring this on Wednesday, and I'll see you guys then. If you have questions, let me know.